2/3.
What?
I read once women tend to overpack by 2/3 when traveling.
I'm not overpacking.
Oh, you're right. Clearly that represents a 2-day trip.
Anyway, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Could have fooled me.
Well, if you have anything constructive you'd like to say about it.
Did you book your flight? What's wrong?
Keep saying my card's declined.
Call Sato.
I don't have time to deal with their automated system.
Try Smith.
You've reached Staff Sergeant Mark Smith. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you.
Sergeant Smith, this is Major Davis. I'm having trouble booking a flight for an upcoming meeting. When I put in my GTC, it's coming back expired. If you have any help or advice, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a message from the major, but how could I possibly help her that late in the game? You just can't. You know, I was always told to check your card 3 days before TDY, and if the card was expired, then a new one should have arrived within 30 days of the expiration date. But knowing the major, and how all over the place she is, she probably didn't notice that a new card came in the mail, let alone check to see whether her current one was, even active. Look, I respect the rank, but I have no sympathy for people who constantly procrastinate like that.
So she's done this before?
Well, not exactly this, but one time she missed a flight that we both were supposed to be on. And when I arrived without her, the colonel was not happy. And even though it wasn't my fault, he gave me an earful right there in the airport. Kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth,
Sure, I remember that. But I bet the farm Smith won't ever miss a flight in his lifetime. As for Davis, yes, she made it to the meeting, but I don't know anything about her troubles with GTC. And frankly, I don't care. I'm tired of her excuses, and I'm tired of counseling her about missing deadlines and cutting corners. Now, I know she's facing a heavy challenge with a death in her unit, but we all have important issues we're dealing with. We suck it up and get the job done. It's that simple.
The colonel's not wrong. I've made some mistakes, but I've worked really hard to improve in those areas. It's just, being a squadron commander is intense. More intense than I thought it would be. From executing the mission, to leading people, to administrative duties, to responding to requests. You feel like you're barely keeping your head above water, especially at this GSU. And I've had a death within my unit. There's just not enough manpower to accomplish everything.
Is that why your GTC expired?
I'd say that has something to do with it, yeah. Should I have been more aware of the card's expiration date? Yes, I should have. But I haven't traveled in over a month, and when the colonel called the meeting, honestly, I was caught off guard. Hindsight, I shouldn't have waited to the last minute.
So how did you book your ticket?
I called in an old favor.
Things weren't easy when I first arrived. Got myself into some trouble, which instantly put me on shaky ground. I realized if I wanted to save my career, I would have to straighten myself out. Now, I never asked or expected anyone to have my back. They were my problems to deal with. However, one person did stand up and help, Major Davis. And she took the brunt for a lot of my mistakes, and it's something I haven't forgotten. So when she called asking for my help, I didn't think twice.
And how did you help her?
Well, she called saying that her GTC was expired and she needed one to pay for an emergency TDY, so I said she could use mine. And she was trying to purchase her flight right there, so I gave her my card over the phone, and she stopped by on her way to the airport and picked it up. We agreed to figure out all the reimbursement details after she got home.
And are you allowed to do that?
Why not? It all comes from the same pot of money, right?
We recently completed an investigation to address the allegations that Major Ashley B. Davis, U.S. Air Force, while attending a mandatory off-site meeting, used a government travel card assigned to someone other than Major Davis, made expenses related to personal purposes, and made false official statements regarding her GTC misuse. Such conduct, if substantiated, would violate the standards summarized throughout the report. We substantiated all 3 allegations. In accordance with our established procedure, we provided Major Davis with her Article 31 rights and her Area Defense Council representative. She waived her right to remain silent and provided comments. In her comments, Major Davis stated that she was aware of her mistakes, errors in judgment, and perceptions she may have created.
After carefully considering Major Davis's comments, re-examining previously collected evidence, and reviewing her history of performance, we stand by our report and the conclusion in it. Is there anything in her disciplinary history?
1 LOC and 1 verbal counseling.
What do you have in mind for this?
An Article 15 and removal from the promotion list. And further, I'd like to recommend the discharge authority consider her removal from the Air Force. And there's one more, ma'am. The lieutenant provided Major Davis with his GTC. I recommend he receive an LOR from me.
Put everything in writing, and we'll discuss it with the JAG tomorrow to make sure we're all on the same page, especially if I need to recommend initiation of the discharge to the show cause authority.
Yes, ma'am.